The 1970s was the beginning of a rich era for Caribbean cricket. Under the inspirational captaincy of Clive Lloyd, they became the most successful and the most feared team in the world. He was succeeded by Vivian Richards, who maintained the astonishing run of success. In 1976, with Lloyd as captain, they beat England 3-0. Richards made his mark in his first test in England, scoring 232. He would top the series averages with 118. Now, the true connoisseur of cricket just enjoys the exquisite elegance of that well-timed cover drive, or the sheer beauty of the late cut. They don't just come to see the ball battered around the park, do they?
What a marvellous stroke. He's played no better shot than that in the whole of this series.
I think it was the second World Cup that we played in, and having won the first one, I think we played England in the final, and we were in some sort of trouble. And these are the times that I feel that maybe someone would be remembered when you do things when it's supposed to be the impossible. It was nice to end up that particular match, 138 not out, and being on the winners watch them as well. It was something that was special, because I think any young man looks forward to that, having played a great part in helping to win the World Cup for your country.
In 1984, he was back again. He made what many observers still consider to be one of the finest one-day innings of all time, 189 out of a total of 272 at Old Trafford.
We were almost dead and buried. You could hear notably some of the comments, that wow, one more wicket and that's it. It's an easy win for England, But it goes to show you that one never count your chickens before they hatch. It's always very important that you try towards the end. And when you get every man out, as they've said, maybe I've heard this old saying that it's never over until the fat lady sings.
That shot again, absolutely magnificent. Straight six this time, and again to a ball pitching outside the leg stump. A couple of steps away and just put it exactly where he wanted it, straight for six.
We're really seeing something here, I can tell you.
A short one, attempted bouncer, and that's put away in great style again for four more. And one feels a shade sorry for the bowlers, I must say. It's almost impossible to bowl to this man when he's in this frame of mind. Oh, that's a real cracker of a shot. Soared away into the far distance there, right smack into the middle of the crowd. So 150 goes on the board for Viv Richards, holding down the wicket to shake him by the hand. Tremendous performance, 4 sixes, 15 fours, and he scored up more than a run a ball. He's only had 147 balls.
I waited my time. I never took over until I was actually 35 years of age. And it was a pleasure doing it at that time, because I had learned a lot. And it was a time, that I felt that one needed, even though you may play a lot of cricket and you're being around a lot of cricketers and things like that, you think that you know everything, but no one ever knows everything.
The England team was well aware that Richards had failed to register a century in this series. His average of 44.2 represented something of a failure by the great man's own standards. He didn't wait long to show that it was all about to change.
As captain, he smashed the fastest century of all time at his home ground in Antigua.
John Embry suffering there, and then the first of half a dozen sixes as Ellison sees a perfectly respectable delivery dispatched from the middle of the bat.
Once more, England were on the receiving end.
They always say that the best batsmen let the top hand dominate their shots. Richards puts that theory to the ultimate test. Graham Gooch could have perhaps chosen a more diplomatic moment to offer a plan to Botham, who seemed to be suggesting that Gooch's best hope of taking a catch might be to go to the region of row E, seat 26. He settles for 3 men in the arc between long off and deep extra cover. And then he bowls a slow half volley outside leg stump, and that too goes for 6. If Richards could have chosen anywhere in the world to score a century like this, his home ground in St John's, Antigua would have been the venue, and the crowd gave him a rapturous reception. It was the fastest Test century of all time, coming from only 56 balls in 70 minutes. To put that into context, Botham took all of 86 balls for his whirlwind century off the Australians at Headingley in 1981. Richards' second 50 took just 21 balls, and in all he struck 6 sixes and 7 fours. And this was the last 6 before the end of the innings.
He retired in 1991.
It's a game that I will enjoy and will continue to love, and hope that maybe some of our younger players do love it that particular way, because when you are in love with something like that, most certainly you're going to treat it with that particular passion and maybe cuddle it a little bit more and cherish it.
The West Indies have had an extraordinary and unbroken succession of fast bowlers since the 1960s. Here are just a few of the finest.
Colin Croft has done it for them. And that's played missed. He's asking yes, and Brian Close is gone. Garner coming in now to complete his 10th over. And his bowl. And 3 wickets have gone down in rapid succession. So poor Wayne Larkins out first ball, clean bowl by Joel Garner. And he's bowled him too. And Garner's having a ball out there.
Whoop. What did that hit? He's out?
Well, it was the most extraordinary dismissal. What in fact was a short ball, a bouncer, which didn't bounce very much. Mickey Stewart ducked, but he didn't get his bat out of the way, and the ball actually hit his bat when he wasn't looking.
Played on, but bowled him. And that was a lovely example of variation by Malcolm Marshall, deciding to float that one at some speed, of course, well up to Graham Gooch. Fancied with full-length cover drive inside edge off stump.
Lloyd still persevering at that far end with Holding. And he's played it on. And another wicket for Michael Holden. Alan Knott just after completing his 50. A little unfortunate there, got into position nicely.
Holding's reputation was secured in Barbados in 1981 with the so-called greatest over of all time. And not for Jeff Boycott, it wasn't.
Every ticket had been sold, but the local Barbadians, who hadn't managed to get one, were determined not to miss the second day's play. West Indies were all up for 265, not an enormous total by their standards. But it looked big enough as Michael Holding bowled the best over I've ever seen. It was his first, and the unfortunate batsman was Jeff Boycott. That was the first ball which Boycott just survived. The next ball whistled past his off-stump as he tried to play it. After 5 balls, Boycott was still there, but the 6th was simply unplayable. Boycott out for a duck. The most prized wicket had been taken. The over went mad. Boycott rates Holding the fastest bowler in the world, and he hasn't changed his mind after this morning. England was 6 for 1.
In 1993-4, Curtly Ambrose secured his own legend in Trinidad.
Very close first ball.
I think it was a pretty good delivery, actually, to get first up, obviously fairly out. That's just one of those things. I don't think I played it especially badly, just unlucky.
First runs for England. Oh, trouble here, trouble. This is absolute disaster for England.
Curtly's a much better bowler when he's either goes back to the wall or when he senses a kind of breakthrough. He obviously sniffed an opportunity there. That gave him a lift and the other players around him. Obviously it has a psychologically downing effect on the England dressing room. But you know, you hope that players are strong enough for technique and temperament to come through that, and on that occasion we weren't.
Courtney Ambrose knows it's out.
With the present English players, and for quite some time, they put their front foot away down, and then they can't get it back. You know, so I would think that they'll have to look at their techniques. The coaches will have to start looking at the players and try and start teaching them line and length, and to move initiatively, particularly to the rail quicks, back.
That's gone. 6 out. An unbelievable collapse here. That's gone. Simmons takes the catch, a second slip. And that's it. Courtney Ambrose strikes again. And England are 40 for 8.
What about when the wickets were tumbling? It must have been chaos in there. I don't know, I sat in the shower just hearing the roars.
We went to Taunton chasing 70 and were 15 for 7, so cricket throws up these anomalies, but usually Test cricket you find an international side is strong enough to come through these things, but we weren't last night.
And that's in the air, Benjamin down there for it. The match is over, the West Indies have won.
Last night, for an hour and a half, was one of the most dramatic and exciting parts of a Test match that I've ever seen.
Courtney Ambrose's strike partner, Courtney Walsh, is now the world's highest wicket taker, with 483.
By the pace of it as much as anything, and England now 105 for 6.
And it's over the top, the glorious...
Importantly, the bowlers have been well backed up by their batsmen. As well as Lloyd and Richards, there have been others like Gordon Greenidge.
To complete quite a brilliant 100.
That's 4, and that's his 100. Not the finest shot with which to bring it up, but that is a century in each innings for Gordon Greenidge. 134 in the first innings, 101 in the second innings of this match. It's the first time any player has scored a century in each innings of a Test match on this ground.
Greenidge's opening partner was no slouch either, Desmond Hanes.
So that's quite a safe shot, and a very good one as well. Could have had an outfield and it wouldn't have mattered too much. But it's rocketed away over the top into that West Indian section.
The runs rattling along. Little tension, little nerves out there for Hanes. And it's through all right this time. That's his 100. And he gives a little leap of joy, Desmond Hanes. And everything off, helmet off, he's absolutely delighted. He's quite an emotional cricketer, Hanes. Burst into tears when he was run out up at Trent Bridge, and he's over the moon now.
More recently, it's been Brian Lara who's been the supreme batsman of the Caribbean. For Warwickshire against Durham, he scored his world record-breaking 501. This was as much a feat of endurance as a feat of skill, where on a slow pitch he faced some pretty tired bowling. His 375, the highest score in Test cricket, was of a very different order.
And what emotions going through Gary Sober's mind?
Gary Sobers had been the genius of his generation, and for me, he is certainly one of the immortals. In 1958 in Jamaica, he scored 365 against Pakistan. It was his maiden Test 100 and the highest score in Test cricket, beating Hutton's 364 of 20 years earlier. He's also remembered for his 6 sixes against Glamorgan and the unfortunate Malcolm Nash.
And he's done it! He's done it! And my goodness, it's gone way down to Swansea. 6 on the trot. 36 in 1 over.
They must be mixed emotions for Sobers.
Now he was in Antigua, to witness Lara take his record.
Beautiful cover drive. Through for 4. .365. He's equal Gary Sobers. 365 not out. Brian Lara. He's past Leonard Hutton. Hutton made 364 at the Oval in 1938 against Australia. He's gone past that now, and he's level on equal standing with Gary Sobers. Sobers is down on the boundary edge, waiting for Lara to score his next run. The field is set. Everybody but third man and long leg is saving the single. Here comes Chris Lewis to Brian Lara. He's gone for the pole, and there it is. Brian Lara's done it. The ball rockets into the boundary fence. The new world record holder is Brian Charles Lara of Trinidad and Tobago. What a moment for Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies cricket.
Absolutely brilliant.
Well, Gary Sobers set his record on March the 1st, 1958. And today at 11:46, Brian Charles Lara is the new world record holder. He's the newest holder of the highest individual innings total in Test match cricket.